Africa Global Radio. Our story, our growth, our future.
Headlines across Africa.
You are welcome to Headlines Across Africa. I am Mary Ejapoma Kisi. In the headlines today, World Health Organization joins forces with RBM Partnership to accelerate the fight against malaria. Families of Ethiopia's 737 MAX crash victims urge US to prosecute Boeing. And Senegal to host first Youth Olympic Games in Africa. The World Health Organization, WHO, has joined forces with Rollback Malaria RBM Partnership and other partners to spotlight the critical importance of advancing health equity, gender equality, and human rights in malaria responses worldwide. World Malaria Day is an international observance commemorated every year on 25th April and recognizes global effort to control malaria. The 2024 theme is Accelerating the Fight Against Malaria for a More Equitable World. The WHO Global Malaria Program published a new operational strategy outlining its priorities and key activities up to 2030 to help change the trajectory of malaria trends, with a view to achieving the global malaria targets. In a message, Director of the WHO Global Malaria Program, Dr. Daniel Ngamije, acknowledges the tremendous contributions of national malaria programs and their partners in facilitating and advocating for malaria prevention and control measures. He further points that malaria remains a serious global health challenge that takes its heaviest toll on the most vulnerable. Dr. Ngamije says a shift in the global malaria response is urgently needed across the entire malaria ecosystem to prevent avoidable deaths and achieve the target of the WHO Global Malaria Strategy, and that this shift should seek to address the root causes of the disease and be centered around accessibility, efficiency, sustainability, equity, and integration. Government officials in Washington met with family members of people killed when a Boeing 737 MAX crashed in Ethiopia in 2019. The families want the Justice Department to revive a criminal charge against the company. Boeing has been reaching confidential settlement with the families of passengers who died. The relatives of those killed in the Ethiopia crash are continuing to press the Justice Department to prosecute the company in Federal District Court in Texas, where the settlement was filed. U.S. Department officials told relatives that the agency is still considering the matter. Family members held a press conference after the meeting where they expressed their disappointment with the Department of Justice. Zipporah Correa, who lost her father, Joseph Correa, in the crash, says the meeting with the DOJ has left her quite disheartened, and that it's not about justice anymore, it's not about the miscarriage of justice for them anymore, it's about the public safety. Paul Castle, a lawyer for the families, vowed to keep fighting if the Justice Department moves to dismiss the charges against Boeing this summer. Africa is anticipating the first ever Youth Olympic Games to be hosted on the continent in 2026 in Dakar, the capital of Senegal. The event will be the fourth edition of the Summer Youth Olympics, an international sports, education and culture festival for teenagers in a city designated by the International Olympic Committee. Rescheduled to take place between October 31 and November 13, 2026, the proposed event is set to bring together the world's finest young athletes to compete in 35 different sports over 14 days. International Olympic Committee IOC President Thomas Bach has expressed his support for Senegal's hosting of the Youth Olympic Games, noting Africa's unity and its sports and culture. He says, with a young population and a passion for sport, it is time for Africa, it is time for Senegal. Sports analysts from parts of Africa consider the event to be of historic significance. According to Rufa Chouaib, Senegal-based sports analyst, the hosting of the Youth Olympic Games in Dakar represents a major milestone in showcasing the immense talent and potential of our young athletes on a global platform. And that is how we end today's Headlines Across Africa. We'll come your way tomorrow with more news right here on Africa Global Radio. I am Mary Ejapoma Kisi.
For this and more, check us out on africaglobalradio.com. On Facebook and YouTube, Africa Global Radio. On Twitter and Instagram, AF Global Radio.